Welcome to Euroforum UG, where we address Ugandans from Europe, USA, Asia, Africa, Australia, and all over the globe. We share experiences, opinions, and expertise on current affairs, educative lifestyle, religion, and family matters. Follow, subscribe, and like our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Euroforum UG. You can also join our live shows every weekend on our social media platforms. For more information, visit our social media platforms or email us at euroforumug@gmail.com or WhatsApp us on +4740 574040. Euroforum UG, communicating with peers.
Euroforum UG, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, depending on where you are. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight this is Janat here, your host tonight on Euroforum UG, one of the hosts of Euroforum. I'm a parenting coach. CEO Mind Your Child. I'm thrilled to be here. Today, Euroforum UG is a platform where we connect Ugandans to the rest of the world, and we discuss different matters, be it economical and social aspects that shape your life. Euroforum UG is no longer a virtual digital platform, but it's a global village because it's bringing up people from different areas of the world and from everywhere. Today's discussion is of utmost importance as we are looking at nurturing emotional intelligence. In a world today whereby the world is now running on a very high pace and a very high speed, you realize that our children, especially, there are some skills now that are so crucial and are very important. We spotted them as so important in the lives of our children, and we thought it wise to look at them. And that is most important of most of the skills is emotional intelligence, because it doesn't only stop at personal growth and development, but it also helps for healthier communities and also healthier relationships. Tonight, I'm thrilled to have an expert in that area, and that is none other than our Dr. Gardner, RH. Dr. Gardner is a co-founder, he's a mind educator and a co-founder, Mind Heritage Limited, and he's a conscious leadership consultant and as well as an activist. Dr. Gardner, kindly join us on this show and introduce more about yourself, because I know each and every one of you else out there would like to hear more about your intro. Dr. Gardner, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Janet. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, you're clear.
All right. My name is Gardner, RH. At times, these other things do not make me who I am. And I normally tell the people I meet that I'm just a life learner. I unlearn, relearn, and learn. So every time if I'm to put all my biography there, that means I'm going to be held up by it. And yet I just keep wanting to move faster. So I'm just a life learner, and maybe what I can share is my life purpose. My life purpose is to get up each and every morning to transform lives so they can be able to face life challenges head on, living happy and fulfilled thereafter. Yeah, that is my simple bio.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gardner, for that brief intro. Dr. Gardner, we talked of nurturing emotional intelligence, and I know each one out there is so much eager to hear what it really means, because maybe they must have heard of the concept emotional intelligence, but we want to know what does it really mean, maybe depending on you as a person, or as how you use it in one of your terminologies as you're doing your work of mind education. Yes, please, Dr. Gardner.
If I'm to make the audience understand what emotion intelligence, then I have to go back and bring the word up to front so that we can first understand the word, then dive into deeper. When we talk about the word emotion first, emotion intelligence comes from three words. Emotion, which simply means movere, which is a Latin word that means energy, movement. Then intelligence is derived also from two words, interlegere, which simply means reading between the lines. So when we talk about emotion intelligence, we are actually just saying your ability to be able, one, to know, two, to understand, three, to manage your emotions. So bring it back in our layman's language for our audience to understand what emotion intelligence is. I'll equate it to a river, right? When you look at a river, let me say River Nile, right? Because I know very many of us know River Nile. When you look at River Nile, the water of River Nile is more or less of the energy, right? Then the bridge of River Nile is more or less you. So when we look at River Nile, at times when it is a hot season, the water is very less, or it has no pressure, or it has no effort. But in the rainy season, the banks of the river even, flood. But what makes it different is that the bridge, the ability of the bridge to contain the energy, which is negative or positive of the water, is directly proportional to how long it stands. And this is the same thing that happens in our lives. When we talk about emotion intelligence, we're talking about your ability to manage your emotions, or your ability to manage the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act, with first yourself and then the people that are around you. Back to you, Janat.
Thanks so much, Doctor. I'm amazed by that explanation. Thanks so much for breaking it down to the layman's language. Now, Doctor, talking of emotional intelligence, is it something innate that someone is born with that intelligence? For example, our children, should any parent take it that our children are automatically emotionally intelligent, or it is something that is acquired, something that is maybe trained, something that is mentored, coached, and nurtured? How is it like? Yeah.
Now, Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called The Outlier. And in this book, he said that there are people who are born.
I beg your pardon about the book, Doctor.
It is The Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes,
in
please.
this book, he talks about the outlier. And he says the outlier is a person who's born with these in-depth character traits. They can think, they can manage, they can feel better, they understand people better. Those are very few people. But me and you, Janat, have to do the work for us to become emotionally intelligent. So if you ask me whether it is inborn or out of habituality and learning, I'll tell you it is both. Because majority of us need to do the work. And statistics have shown that people who have high emotion intelligence are 80% able to meet and support and fulfill their life purpose. So it is the cornerstone of our being. And it's quite interesting that it is now that we're taking on the notion of emotional intelligence after Daniel Goleman writing that book that was launched in 1995 about emotional intelligence. But the concept of emotional intelligence has been there since 1986. It is today that people are now trying to harness it and incorporate it in our being. But trust me, for me to become emotion intelligent, for you to become emotion intelligent, we need to do the work. And that work has to be done. And after we have done it, that's when we are able to read between the lines, to understand people, to relate better, to live better, and to achieve our vision and purposes that we intend to do and have in life.
Yeah, thanks so much, Doctor, for that. Uh, because some people maybe use it as they take it as an ability or as a disability, whereby they say that if you don't have the intelligence, automatically you don't have it, and if you have it, it means you have it. So they are like someone is they take it as a disability or an someone's ability that maybe someone has it, some people have it, and then others don't have it. Now, doctor, looking at emotional intelligence, how can we use it to overcome some of the challenges in our life? Because we have a lot of challenges, for example, stress, depression. Of recent, some people are going through a lot of things whereby and everyone is maybe pointing at emotional intelligence as one of the solutions to some of the problems. So how can we use it to overcome challenges?
Janet, the first thing we need to understand is that you cannot use something that you do not know. And I started on by saying that emotional intelligence simply means managing the energy within you. Do you know the energy? Do you understand it? And you're able to manage it. That is one piece of the puzzle. But I also say that emotional intelligence determines the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. Now, for us to be able to use emotional intelligence, I'll start from what it entails before I go to the components. Now, look at this. Janet, I know there are moments when you get up in the morning, right? You tell your friends that I'm coming to visit you, or you have your to-do list that maybe it has 5 items that you want to do that day. But when it comes to evening, when you check, you've done 10%, or even the people you've said you're going to meet, you not meet them. Now, this is what happens. An average human being, I'm going to start from the way you think, has over 56 thoughts in less than a minute. That is 60 seconds. You have 56 thoughts. These are statistically proved. Then out of the 56 thoughts, 80 thoughts are negative, right? Which is okay. 80 of them are negative. Then 97 of the negative thoughts are repeated each and every day. You get the challenge we have? Now, we are products of habituality, as Albert Einstein once said. Now, we are products of negativity based on what we are today. That's why in the morning you wake up when you see somebody who has put on a tie and you're like, he is not smart. You see somebody who's driving his Range Rover, you're like, yelaga. You know, because we are products of negativity. So how can you be emotionally intelligent if you cannot change the thought pattern that you have in your head? Now, the first thing is you need to understand that you are a product of habits and you have negative thoughts running within you. Now, the question you'd be asking me is that how can I change that? Because this is a course unit that I train in. Actually, it is a module, a full module. It takes almost a month. But I'm going to try and break it down in less than an hour, right? Or in less than 45 minutes. So I'll move very fast, but I'm very sure people will pick what they have to pick. Now, for you to be able to break the pattern of the 96 repetitive thoughts out of the 80 that are negative and out of the 56 that you think in less than an hour, what you have to do is to catch yourself thinking. Stop. Every time anything happens, stop. When you stop, then you're giving yourself the time to think, the time to analyze, because we know for you to break the circuit of an emotion which you called energy, you need to stop. Now, in that process, when you stop, now you come back to your senses and you're like, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. The second thing, when you stop, you need to understand, where is this emotion coming from? Is it coming from my stomach? Because there are people who are very scared. They'll start stammering. They'll feel butterflies. There are those who start sweating. There are those who start stammering. There are those even who lack words, right? Now, understand, where is that thought coming from? Or where is that emotion coming from? And the second is, now you need to know what emotion it is. When you say, I fear, or I'm stressed, what do you mean? Right? Now, in that process, you're trying to break down. The more you do it, you're going to short circuit that negative repetitive action that you have in your brain, and you start coming to become one. When you go to Japan and when you go to India, they'll tell you meditate. In Japan, they'll tell you Zen. They mean the same. It only means get in tune with yourself. Watch those thoughts, that 56 thoughts that are running in your head. Watch them so that you can be able to control them. Now, I said the second thing is now we have finished the way you think. Now we're going to the way you feel, your heart. Janet, we know when you are stressed, your heart will pump very fast. But I want to bring it up to you on speed. Do you know a total?
Hello, doctor. Are you on? I think we lost him. No, he's on. Doctor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, but I can't hear nobody. I can hear you.
We are on.
Yes?
We can hear you now. You're back.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So where did I stop? Because I don't know where I broke off from.
You said after thinking, and then it goes to the way we feel. How we feel.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, the way we feel. I was asking you, do you know that tortoise is the only...
Yes, I know a tortoise.
Yes, it is the only reptile, because it lives on land and in water, that lives longer, right? And the reason as to why it has longevity is because it has a low metabolic rate. That means it breathes so slowly, right? Now, when it breathes so slowly, it manages its whole body. And the same happens with us. Now, we are talking about emotions. We are talking about the heart. The heart, we have over 36 emotions. An average human being undergoes 36 emotions or has 36 emotions. But in psychology, we believe that we do not have negative and positive emotions. We know that these emotions determine the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you are. Now, for you to be able to understand the way you feel, right, then you need to first understand, where do these emotions come from? Many people think the heart is the center of life. That's an illusion. The heart is there to pump blood. But remember, it is responsible for all your body feelings, because it has blood that goes through all, or is covering all of your body. Now, for you to be able to feel right, is that you need to control the way you breathe. That's why I said, whenever anything happens, the thing you need to do is to stop. When you stop, what happens? You reduce. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. So you reduce and get your heart composed for you to be able to be. Now, if we say the way you think and the way you feel, then how are you supposed to act, right? Action comes from your physiology. Also, the way you appear, your identity, your physical being. And that is what affects the way you act, because I think, I'll feel, and I'll act. But if you put all this together, the challenge is that many of us act because of not how we think or how we feel, but how we imagine other people are perceiving us to be. And for us to break it down and bring it in this whole concept, you asked, how can we use it? How can it manage stress and anxiety and all these mental disorders? Daniel Goleman, in his famous book, talks about the 5 components of emotional intelligence. He talks about the self. The first one is self-knowledge. Self-awareness. Are you aware of yourself? Do you know who you are? Your morals, your values, your character, your beliefs. What makes you? If I ask you, Janat, who you are you going to tell me I'm Janat? Are you going to tell me I'm a Muslim? Are you going to tell me I'm a woman? Are you going to tell me I'm a mother? Are you going to tell me I'm... Those do not define who you are. What defines who you are the things we do not know, your morals, your values, character, your beliefs. Those are the things that have a foundation that make you who you are. But are you aware? Are you aware of what makes you angry? Are you aware of what makes you happy? Are you aware? Can you tell that this person is making me angry? Or can you tell that when somebody says this, it makes me angry? And if somebody asks you, what do you do when you're angry? Do you know when you're angry? That's self-awareness. The second is self-regulation. Now that you know, are you able to regulate? Are you able to understand? Are you able to manage? Right? Now that I know who I am, I know the emotions, I know the feelings, I know the thoughts, am I able to short circuit it so that I cannot act intelligent? The third is empathy. Empathy simply means when we are dealing with people, because we are human beings, our deepest desire is to relate and connect and commune with each other. Now, the question is, am I able to understand the feeling, the emotions, the thoughts of the other person? That's why they say fitting in their shoes. And that is what empathy is all about. And once you're empathetic, then you are able to understand the other person. And the fourth is motivation. Motivation, many of us think is a result, is a cause, sorry. No, motivation is a result. I normally tell people that motivation is the engine of the car that keeps ignited when the tires are deflated. I'll repeat it. Motivation is the engine of the car that keeps ignited when the tires are deflated. So whenever you feel you cannot do it, motivation tells you, keep going. It's the engine that keeps running, keeps running. But the question is, how do we build this motivation? Motivation comes from your life purpose, from a problem that you feel you want to solve, something that is burning within you that you feel you cannot do without, but you want it to manifest. And the fifth one are social skills. How do we connect? How do we relate? How do we talk to each other? How do we manage each other's emotions? So when you understand the 5 components and you understand the way you think, you understand the way you feel, that will automatically align you to the way you act. And when you put these 5 components and you put the 3 into play, I will tell you that that is an emotionally intelligent person. Back to you, Janelle.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doctor, for breaking it down that way, because by this I realized that. But I think, Doctor, we need, maybe some people need some help, because now you talked about, okay, the thoughts and then the feelings, and then you talked about knowing where your feelings are coming from, and you said some are coming from the heart, then from the stomach. You know that maybe it will take us also to these 5 dimensions of Daniel Goleman, whereby someone has got to be self-aware, because knowing where your feelings are coming from, it takes someone who really knows themselves, they are self-aware. Maybe it will take some bit of, don't you think, doctors, people need some bit of coaching or training to really know how to tell their emotions? How to tell their emotions, yes. Because
absolutely.
not everyone is not everyone is self-aware. Yes.
Sure. That's why I earlier on said that for you to be emotionally intelligent, there are people who are outliers. They are born naturally intelligent. They know who they are, they can manage who they are, and they can act in accordance with who they are. But many of us, me and you, need to undergo this learning. It's a skill. We need somebody to guide us, somebody to show us, somebody to let us know about the 36 emotions, right? Somebody to let us know that, hey, you know, when this comes, when you feel like this is how you're supposed to react. This is how you can short-circuit it. So it is a skill that you can learn, and it's a skill that somebody can train you or coach you into to become better.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. Indeed, it takes training, and it takes some coaching. Doctor, do you happen to have some experience or example where emotional intelligence has helped you impact a decision or impact a community or impact a life, or in that line? Yes, please.
Yeah, so many of them, but let me give you one that that happened just of late. I was approached by a friend to write a proposal. I won't tell you what this proposal was about, but I took my time, I wrote the proposal, then they called me for an appointment to go and pitch the proposal. So we are two people. My friend who connected me and me who had written the proposal, who had understood the whole concept and going to pitch for it. So when we got into this boardroom, there were 6 panelists. 4 of them were women, 2 of them were men. So we entered, we introduced ourselves, they introduced themselves, and they told us to pitch. When we started pitching, I did my whole part, got the problem, gave them the interest, explained the problem, showed them that we are the best people to get that sponsorship. Now, when it came back to Q&A, they asked us that, we have had so many people who have come here, more or less the same thing. And how can you show us or prove to us that actually when we invest in your money, so when we invest our money in you, this and that is going to happen? Now, my colleague decided to speak first and kept silent. Now, he spoke, he submitted, and they were not happy with the submission. Now, what they did, the other lady who was the chair of the meeting started rebutting on what he had submitted. And truth be told, because I was silent listening in, I picked a lot of ideas of which they wanted, because she had exposed the Pandora. She had opened it up. Now, when I came back to submit, now she started, actually it was shouting. She started shouting. She was like, but we have been doing this, we have been doing that. I told her, but in your submission, this is what you said. Yes, this and this and this. Is it correct? She said, yes. Now, I am saying that for us to get this going, based on what you have said, this and this and that is what we have to do. She kept quiet. The other colleague said, I think he's right, because now they started building on what I had said. And later, they gave us the deal. But for me, what it taught me, and later on we went back to review with my colleague, I told, you've heard of the good cop and the bad cop. That's what we were doing. But what made me understand is I used my emotional intelligence. I knew when somebody's shouting, you keep quiet. They expose who they are. And when you come back, this is a social skill, as I'd said. It is the 5th pillar, or the 4th pillar, you may like. Social skills. Listening. You don't listen to criticize. You don't listen to contribute. You don't listen to justify. You listen to understand. Those 3 are the hindrances of listening. So I was there listening because I knew it is the 4th pillar in emotional intelligence. When you listen to people, they will tell you who they are and they'll tell you what they want. And the second skill in that I can bring out is that when somebody is shouting, don't respond. Be quiet. I talked about it. Silence. Be quiet. And the third social skill is give value. Act like an investigator. I know I'm a lawyer by profession, but I know when it comes to cross-examination and re-examination and examination, somebody will say something. It's until you come back to cross-examine what they said that you pick the gist of what they said. Emotional intelligence. So with this example, I can bring out, I've scooped out already 3 of the techniques. 1, I kept quiet. 2, I listened. 3, I cross-examined. I came back and asked, you have said this and this and this and this and that. Yes. So we are bringing this and this and this and this. Yes. How did I get that? I was listening. So that is the closest example I can give you in the applicability of emotional intelligence. Back to you, Janet.
Thanks so much, Doctor. I loved it, especially the part of keeping quiet and listening, because people don't value it so much. Some people listen to respond, others listen to react, as you said. But I got it right where you said we have to listen to understand. And that is a very strong tool, because it was also mentioned in the 48 rules of power. It's one of the rules of power, yes. So, Doctor, now as we are into talking to parents as well, the managers, the leaders, how can a parent out there nurture emotional intelligence into their children? Because now I know, according to what we've talked about, they are worried, thinking that maybe it's only for the adults, it's only for the managers, for the leaders, but we as well need it for the children. How can a parent out there nurture emotional intelligence into their children? What are some of the skills?
You know, there's a wise man who said that never trust a man who's selling gold watches when he's not putting on one. You know? So we as parents, we want to nurture emotional intelligence in our kids. The question is, are we emotionally intelligent? Is the question. But anyway, vis-a-vis, we can, some of the
Doctor, are you on?
can you hear me?
Yes, you are back now.
Yeah, I said, for us to nurture emotional intelligence in our kids, we need to pay attention, and attention comes with presence. We need to be present. The biggest challenge that we are facing today as parents is that we have mistaken presence to presence, right? It is holiday. Many parents are looking for which training, where can I take my kids to be? Because they are trying to chase them away from themselves. This is the time when they're buying them a lot of data so they can be on their smartphones, on their small screens. Now we come back home, we are tired. They are there on their smartphones. We're on our smartphones and we go to our rooms. We're even having dinner on our smartphones. When shall we understand? Right? When shall we know the feelings of these people? When shall we listen to them? When shall we observe? Right? So at the end of it all, they grow to become adults when we do not know who they are. And because they do not know who they are, because we do not know who we are as parents, we are affecting the kids from knowing who they are. So it is a vicious cycle. If I want to change them, I have to change myself, because when I change myself, they observe that I have changed and they also change, because I'll be wanting to give them the change that has changed. So for us to nurture that, then we need to first harness emotional intelligence in ourselves. Be present in your own life. Know yourself, you know, evaluate yourself. The second, have time. Sacrifice, even if it's just an hour. Talk to them, ask them, speak to them to listen, not to criticize. Just listen. When you give them the shoulder, they'll speak and you will know what you need to improve in, what you need to do, what they want, what are the desires, what they love. And when you understand that, you be in their lives and push them to do it. So there are so many things we can do, but the first I will bring out to speed is let us be present in our own lives first, then in their lives. When we do that, then we have incorporated these 5 skills. We have understood the 3 areas that we need to focus on. Then we shall pass on that to the children. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. Some parents are mistaking physical presence for being present for their children. But do you know that we have parents who are physically present but are emotionally absent from the lives of their children? I think parents need to take note of this, especially now in this long time holiday in Uganda here. I don't know the rest of the world. But here in Uganda specifically, we are having a third-term holiday, and as you said, parents are purchasing gadgets, looking for where to take children, as you said. But I think we should be mindful as parents. Doctor, what is the contribution of emotional intelligence to the development of stronger communities out there? Because we've been looking at it at a personal level, and now how is it contributing to stronger communities out there?
All right. I'll give you an example. When we talk about communities, we're talking about leadership, right? And it's from the leadership that communities are built. But remember, leadership does not exist in abstract. Our communities start from me and you. Then it goes to a family, then becomes a household, then becomes a community. Now, let me give you a simplest example that can explain that is Nelson Mandela, yes, of South Africa. Remember what South Africa was going through during that time, apartheid policy. Nelson Mandela had to understand who he was, his values, his morals, his character, what he believed, what he envisioned, what he wanted South Africa to be. That's the first principle of Daniel Goleman: self-knowledge, self-awareness. He was aware. And what he did, he envisioned, how can we create peace, oneness, equality, eliminate segregation in South Africa? First, it started with him. Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change that you want to see. He started advocating, and we saw the formation of the ANC. ANC sprout out of Mandela's idea, self-awareness of who he was. Daniel Goleman says the second is self-regulations. When Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, when he was in prison for 27 years, he had offers that were coming to him, telling him, you know what? If we can set you free only and only if you denounce ANC. Mandela knew that that was not who he was. When he was in that prison, he denied those offers. He said, I'll stick to my goal, to my vision, to my morals, to my values, to my promise. Self-knowledge. Self-regulation is, you have had people who have committed suicide in prisons. You have had people who have changed their thoughts and changed their being in prison. Mandela did not do that. He regulated who he was. The third is empathy. When Mandela was released, remember he spent 27 years in prison. The people who imprisoned him on his inauguration ceremony invited them, and they hugged, and it was fun. Everybody was happy. But most importantly, the warden who was taking care of him in prison. Remember, a warden is this person who gives you hard time. He will wake up in the morning, go and do this, blah, 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 doing so many things. He invited him at his inauguration ceremony. His warden, empathy. He understood that the warden was not doing what he was doing because it was him. He had understood that he was doing his work. So he would not start blaming the warden or blaming the government because he had accepted who he was. The third thing he did to show empathy, remember South Africa, the rugby team of South Africa is called the Reebok, something like that, Springbok. The Springbok is the national rugby name of the rugby club of South Africa. In 1995, they hosted the World Rugby Champion, and the bag that I'm again forgetting the name was a symbol of segregation. It was a symbol, a firm symbol of segregation in South Africa, because 99.9% of the members were whites. You know what Nelson Mandela did? Google, you'll see him. He put on the jazz of that rugby, of the national rugby club or team, which was a symbol of segregation. But he understood that if he's to unite people, he has to be an example. The fourth are social skills. These are the skills he used. you know, inviting his former warden, having dinner with the clerk who had imprisoned him, then putting on the jazz and going to watch the 1995 rugby champion, you know, social skills. Now, the other is motivation. Motivation was the vision he wanted to see of South Africa. Even when he came into power, I'm imagining if I can imprison you for 3 days and you come back home, you may cut down all my banana plantations or kill all the animals that I have. But he was calm and composed. He took up one term and left. Motivation, emotional intelligence. So if we can get these skills and bring them in our communities, that means everyone in the communities knows who he is. They have their goals, they have their visions, they have their understanding. They are out there being empathetic, trying to help each other because we are social beings. We are there trying to commune. We are there trying to forgive each other. We are there being grateful for what we have. We make our community a better place. Yes, back to you, Janet.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that picture. It brought out the picture very well. Talking of Nelson Mandela, he was a very great leader, as you talked about him, because indeed apartheid was something very big. But for a man as him, he did a lot, and I can testify that his emotional intelligence was on a very high level. Thanks so much, Doctor, for taking us somehow into leadership, because you said every person is a leader, or parents are leaders, children, we are grooming leaders. So everyone out there is a leader. You reminded me of Mahatma Gandhi of India. He was such a man who was also visionary and had that high level of emotional intelligence, because we can look at his level of calmness and peaceful revolution that he used to lead India to independence. Thanks so much, Doctor, for such good insights. I know emotional intelligence is something very big, as you said when you're starting, Doctor, and being your area of specialty, that is emotional intelligence and mindful leadership. We can't exhaust it in one day. So I'm kindly begging that whenever we approach you, Doctor, you always come to our rescue, because we can have another series of this, because we cannot exhaust it in one day. Thanks so much, Doctor, for this great insights. I can see even someone from our technical team is already appreciating. Everyone out there on Facebook, YouTube, you can keep on dropping your thoughts about the topic, your questions, your insights, because Doctor will be back. We shall always have to come back to your questions. Moses, I don't know whether we have any reactions from Facebook and YouTube, so that Doctor can react to them.
Yes, thank you so much, Janat. And Doctor, thank you so much for your amazing insights and reflections. There is a viewer here called Suvuga Enoch. He said somewhere, I don't know where exactly, but he said, yes, Doctor, I disagree with you on some points. He wasn't so specific, but he went down and said, would you rather conclude that parents that are not intelligent cannot have intelligent kids? Over to you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you. That's an amazing question. Do you think parents that don't have intelligence cannot have intelligent kids? No, man. I think if you followed my discussion from the word go, I said the people who are born with intelligence, and I alluded to Malcolm Gladwell's book Outlier. Actually, he calls them the outliers. Those people are naturally born with intelligence. But I said majority of us need to work. Now, if you ask me if I'm a parent and I'm not intelligent, does that mean I'm going to produce a kid who's not intelligent? No. You can produce a kid who's intelligent, and you can produce a kid who's not intelligent. So the question we are supposed to be understanding is, regardless of whether I'm born intelligent or I'll produce a kid who's intelligent or not intelligent, do we know how we can nurture? I'll give you a very simple example. In 2016, I personally, today, I'll bring it up to you that I was an average student. Until when I went to study the art of learning, that I understood how to learn. And I tell people in my classes, because I'm a lecturer, I tell people, I'm like, you know what, guys, if I'm to go back to school, I'll get 100 over, actually 100.1, because I've understood the art of learning. Now, I got this skill. I picked 15 students that were being last in their classes. I repeat, last in their classes. These are 3 schools. I took them into the art of learning with comprehension. They were in their holidays. They were in their 13th year. When they went back to school, I followed them up. The next term, holidays, they came back. Some, if it was a class of 15, because there were small classes that was abroad in Sweden, 15, they started coming back when some of them were number 10, some of them were number 8, some of them were number 12, those who were 20. There was a big gradual movement. Now, I'll ask you, you who asked, what is intelligence? When you see people failing in class, it doesn't mean that they are dumb or they're not intelligent. No, they just lack the skill. So when we understand that we can either be born or be nurtured into that, that is the beginning. So it is not a guarantee that if you're intelligent, you'll give birth to an intelligent child. No. And it's not a guarantee that if you're not intelligent, that you'll give birth to an intelligent guy, son or daughter. No. The whole thing is habituality. Can it be made? Can we learn? And the answer is yes, we can. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Doctor. I'm glad that it can be nurtured. Let parents not be worried that if you're not intelligent, you're not. It can be nurtured, it can be coached, it can be mentored, and we can master the skill. We can all master the skill, I can assure you. As we are coming to the end of the hour, I know sweet things get sweeter the more you go on and on. Doctor, we can't exhaust this, but I beg that when we call upon you, you kindly respond as you did today, because it is indeed an insightful session, and I know each and everyone out there is really enjoying the session. Doctor, in the remaining minutes, kindly give us your parting shots and what you do, where you formed, and maybe what parents can take home, especially parents, because this program is called the Parenting Pathways, and we always talk to parents every 2 Wednesdays in a month. So, Doctor, kindly give us your parting shots.
All right. What I can say I will give us as the audience is that everybody of us has a seed within. And when I talk about the seed, that means it has been fully and very well selected by either Allah, whether by God, whoever you believe in. And that seed is your brain. So you have the choice to either grow it to flourish and you help other people, or you grow weeds that will take over the goodness that is in you. And the only way we are able to nourish and bring out the seed so that it can help other people is to understand emotional intelligence, understand who we are, understand where our emotions come from, understand what we do, then have all this big picture and relate and live together. That is the only thing. And the other is that if you can, then the other person can do. Because we are human beings, we leave clues. So in whatever circumstance you are going through, somebody has gone through it. So the only thing that differentiates you and them is your willingness to open up and seek help and ask and learn. You may not come to me, but there are so many books out there. You may not read books. There are so many audio books out there. You may not do audio books. There's so many talk shows like this one. Tune in, listen, because the answer or the battle you are battling somebody out there has an answer, and somebody has already been or has already gone through it. So to conclude is that those that want to reach out to me, just go on Google, put my name, you'll find everything. If you want more of my discussions, they are on my podcast. It's called the Conscious Awareness and Mind Growth Academy, KAMA. Conscious Awareness and Mind Growth Academy. There's so many episodes, over 500 plus. Choose what you like, learn from it. And those who may maybe want to reach out to me, please, you can reach out to Janat, or you can, if you put my name on Google, you'll go to my website, Gardner, www.gardnerrh.com, and you can find me out there. Otherwise, if you're around Kampala or around in Tinda, our offices of Mind Heritage are just below, if you know where Old Timers in Tinda is, on that stretch as you're going to Chambogo, opposite Seven Hills, you'll find us. Other than that, if you can't go around there, you can come and find me in Makere, that's where I lecture, or you find me at Nkumba University. Yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It was really insightful, and I know many are going to reach out to you because everyone needs this. But we shall be getting more and more of such sessions on this platform and on this program specifically. Janat Yahaya, Naggolola, your host tonight, parenting coach. I'm glad to be here tonight with Dr. Gardner, and everyone out there, every one of you out there, we thank you so much for prioritizing this time and giving in your time, your precious time, because I understand this is family time, to be with us. We don't take it for granted. Thank you very, very much. From me to you is a good night wherever you are, or a good evening. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye-bye, Janat. All right.
Welcome to Euroforum UG, where we address Ugandans from Europe, USA, Asia, Africa, Australia, and all over the globe. We share experiences, opinions, and expertise on current affairs, educative lifestyle, religion, and family matters. Follow, subscribe, and like our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Euroforum UG. You can also join our live shows every weekend on our social media platforms. For more information, visit our social media platforms or email us at euroforumug@gmail.com or WhatsApp us on +4740 574040. Euroforum UG, communicating with peers.